Hello, today I would like to show you the video that I made for the Young Explorers, which is a group of 10-11-year-old students from different high schools, as long as I understand. And they came to visit me. In fact, they came to that building, Kugan, at the University of Gothenburg/Chalmers Department on Computer Science and Engineering. And they came to learn how robots work overall. So I gave them the first lesson out of 4. And I wanted to let them know about, the very basics of computation, zeros and ones. So I basically told them how switches work, how electricity works. And then I told them that basically a switch is some kind of, plugged in device or unplugged in device. When it is plugged in, electricity can flow, and then there is light. I think they quite understood the idea. And then I told them, okay, the case of the light is the same as the case of moving around for a robot. So in this case, I told them, like, you know what, with zeros and ones, we can make the robot either move forward or stop. And we had an example in which by clicking the robot, it would move. It would be the equivalent of a 1. And then I tried to tell them that it would be the same as clapping. When you clap, there is something happening. When you don't clap, nothing is happening. And then we had this cool exercise in which they had to clap and the robot would move. Of course, they clapped a lot the first time and the robot went very far away, which they found funny. And then we said, okay, we need to think about how many claps. So we were starting to get into the concept of programming and what does it mean to time things and program things well. So we reached the conclusion that we needed, 4 ones to get to the home and then a 0 to stop the robot, and they were following this concept rather well. So I had animations, they understood the concept. And once more we recapped to this, this concept of, okay, we need to program the robot so it moves on its own. We cannot just give the instructions, the zeros and ones, one at a time. That's boring. We did some exercises in the same way as before, showing that, we can program, we can pre-say what the robot is going to do just by using zeros and ones. They came up with these solutions themselves and they did rather well. And when this problem came along was when they got a bit stuck. So the question in this case was, how do we tell the robot that only understands claps or silence that it needs to churn? And then I have to say that after not so long, one of the kids, let's not forget they were 10, 11 years old, came up with the idea like, okay, I will clap twice. And then I told them like, yes, that's the key. You need more bits. You need more zeros or ones per instruction. That was impressive. They came up with this solution on their own, and I think it was rather well understood. That was a code that they would use for some kind of game. And it was rather intuitive for them. We came up with this code in which 2 claps would mean walking forward, nothing and a clap would mean churning, 1 and a 0 would mean churning, and nothing would mean stopping. So this is the code that we came up with. And then we even reenacted this in the classroom. We were walking around, they were trying to clap and trying to give me instructions just with zeros and ones. And then we went to do the exact same thing with the robot. So in this case, you would use 2 move forward instruction for the robot to get home. In this case, we would use, 4 move forward instructions for the robot to go home. But then you would need a churn left instruction, which we didn't have before because we were only using 1 bit per instruction, which is not enough to encode all the possible movements of the robot. Then I brought out this problem, and I have to say that they also came up with a solution rather quickly. They just said, okay, you just need to move forward a lot of times, so you need a way to tell the robot do something n times. And yes, that's how I introduced them to the concept of loops. Then I told them that in a loop, you can tell the robot do something in a loop for a number of times. And that also was well understood. I have to say that the students had experience with Scratch. But that's how it went. And then we agreed on some terminology that we could use. We were once more in the classroom moving around. It went rather well. Now, we had a discussion. This was a bit the second part of the class. We had a discussion on the things that robots could do and the parts of their behavior in which they would need loops. So we discussed, vacuum robots, we discussed kitchen aids, we discussed things that were somehow automatic. Students here raised a lot of questions about artificial intelligence, and they kind of understood that artificial intelligence is not explicitly programmed. They had that intuition behind, but they couldn't really use the right words. And I really didn't push for it. I just said that everything is programmed, and that some things are programmed to learn some patterns and repeat them and make our lives easier. But I left it there. So I showed them the second part of their assignment, which consisted in drawing some cards for them to give instruction to someone else. So in my example, I had some cards, and I had physical cards that looked like this, of different colors depending on the action. And then I showed them that, okay, if I took 2 steps forwards and then I stopped, I could pick up. In this case, there was a phone 2 steps away from me, and I knew this because of the rooms that I was on. So I gave that example. And then I told them that if the phone was closer to me, then perhaps I would have to have used another instruction that is not move forward, but instead moving forward with smaller steps. They found that very funny, and we moved on. And then I showed them this video that if you haven't had the chance to look at, I strongly advise you do. It's basically a father that asks his kids to give him instructions on how to make a sandwich. And then the kids, of course, write instructions, but then the instructions are unclear or difficult to enact, and then the father takes them quite literally. So the students found this video very funny, and then I told them, or I asked them, do you think you could do better than them? And that was their tasks for the remaining of the session. They worked on different stages, so they had 1 minute to write instructions. They had some group settings, and then we just showed how the behavior of the robot would be if someone... That's it for the activity of writing instructions and reenact. And then we had a wrap-up session in which we basically reminded them on how computers are basically working with zeros and ones, but many of them, so they can have complex instructions. And I answered some questions mostly about AI and whether AI is going to take away our jobs or not. That was their number one concern. But it went rather well. So I'm very happy with the metaphors and all of the activities that we conducted on this very specific instance of the Young Explorers Club. Very positive feedback as well.